What's up, guys? Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz coming back at you with yet another set review. So we're doing Fate's Day Night Heaven's Feel, just came out in English. I am joined here by Zach, who you guys have met before, and somebody who you haven't met before. We got Bret on the call. So Bret is our local Fate guru. He's been playing Weiss for a hell of a long time. Bret, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi there. Uh, I'm Brett. I'm one of the people that were the first members of this community, and we helped establish it from the ground up. Was brought into the set series back in with Fate Zero, and I've pretty much been nonstop since.
Yeah.
Bret is the only one here with any real Fate cred.
True. The rest of us are just meta slaves now that we have to acknowledge the set because it has really, really good cards.
Well, you're a meta slave. I'm a rebel.
All right, so let's get right into it. So before we jump into any cards, I just wanted to bring this up. So old cards that we should all keep in mind. I'll sort of run through them left to right, why they're important. So our first two here, the Shiro and this Rin. Oh, Jesus, I already messed it up. So these both give Clock Encore global to different sets of characters. Shiro gives them to Masters. Rin gives them to Rin or Archers. Which is really good for just it makes every single zero you play a plussing zero. Really good for the early game. Ensures that you're getting to one first. That's the big meme, right? That Fate always gets to one first because of the Clock Encore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just pretty strong. We got the Sakura and the Ilya Akatsuki's. Ilya only grabs Masters, Sakura only grabs green cards, but Akatsuki's just literally aren't printed anymore. So it's really cool that Fate has two options for them. The 2-1 yeah, the 2-1 Gil is a crazy aggressive early sort of finisher. It's on reverse pings for the number of soul triggers you reveal. You mill two cards. Which is really crazy. There's a whole deck built around him. Called Fate Coin Flip. Archer's sort of the same
we've all
vein.
seen that this scene. Yeah.
He's literally just a yo burner. You reveal top, and you burn for the level.
Is that a climax?
Nope, climax.
Nope.
Climax free.
Yep, really, really good splashable finisher in red. The Rin back up here, that's literally just Shaken Megami. Same thing.
Came first.
Cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say she came first. So. Really good early anti-change backup because it's quote unquote costless. It's just hand. Then we got this
Musashi.
Yeah, Saber Musashi, always a really good off finisher. So I threw this Berserker event in here, because it's a costless sack on your field, and then also mills you a controlled amount. So it might be relevant. There's some good blue cards.
I mean, if you run Yellow Blue Masters, it's completely relevant because you're running Snow Fairies.
Yeah. So it's just anything that says costless backup sack a character is really strong. So I just wanted to make sure that people knew that this event still existed. The Lancer that coin flip pops to hand, and when he gets reversed, if you reveal level 2, pretty good for coin flip, and he's green. Green's a big theme in Heaven's Feel. Speaking of green, the 1/1 stock swap event, also pretty good. Yeah. Fate having access to Thought Swap is wild. Very few sets in English have access to this effect. So that's really important for people to remember. The Rider from Fate Zero is a really good off finisher. He has Time Machine where he can send himself to memory and come back, and he also has pay 1. He can clock kick a character on the turn that he's played. This Lancer Zero, also from Fate Zero, is important because he can tutor not only any green climax, but also Excalibur or Excalibur Morgan, based on the ruling that we got from Bushiroad America. He can search any of those from deck. And then I threw the caster on here just sort of round out the slide. She's a climaxless restander. So, yeah. Bret, you want to add anything else here? I just sort of threw things that I knew. Sort of from my standpoint. I don't know if I really missed anything important. Well,
I'm literally sitting here although I run Fate and I run a lot of Fate, I pretty much have only run like mono yellow Saber Shiro, or I've run Masters. I did have for a while. I ran literally just bad guys. I ran Kirei, Gilgamesh, and I was the level 3 Gilgamesh
Yeah.
is really nice because he has removal options.
Yeah. So okay, so we'll just, if we're talking about Saber and Shiro, then you'll really like yellow. So let's pop right into it. Let's pop to our first card. You want to read this one for us, Bret?
Sure. We have Richist, King of Knights Saber, first double rare. 2 or more other master servants, gets an additional 1,000, bringing it 55, and it has a shot climax combo. It literally just Magis.
Yeah.
It Katsuki's. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like, I think this is literally just Minami, right? From Idolmaster. This is the same thing? I think so. It's literally just a Minami. I think Minamis are like fine. I think
we also get that power boost too.
Yeah. I think they
it's
might
only on a turn, yeah.
They might be poorly positioned in the meta right now. Because like, not only do we still have AOT running around, but we're like entering a wall meta.
Yeah.
So like getting that first reverse to start snowballing, because that's what Minami does. It's like she gives 2,000 power to something else. Is a little bit harder than you think. But on the flip side, Kaede is considered good enough to get reverses, and she's literally 55 with no global soul or global power. So maybe this is good enough.
And this would probably be better if once you look at more of the set, because there might be more support to like help get this bigger.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that like if you're running Shiro Saber, you're probably running the Clock on Core Shiro that we looked at with a bunch of masters at 0, so that you can make sure that you get to level 1 first. And although it's a meme, like I get that it's a meme. Fate always hits 1 first. But you can literally get yourself to 1 first and then snipe some zeros with your Minami and get your pluses early. So maybe this is good enough. And like Shot's super underrated as a climax. So I don't know. We ready to give a score on this one?
I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give this a straight B. Minamis are good, but poorly positioned right now. I think it's fine. If you're in like
that's
Shiro
basically
Saber.
my opinion as well.
You may as well throw that there too. As much as I like it, I like running some of the other combos better.
Yeah, it's just really hard to run a Minami in 2019 in English. It's like hard thing to ask. All right, next card. So Justice on behalf of another Shiro. So he's a 2 or less climax and waiting room early play. He top check 3 add ones on play, and then he can buff another character for 500 times the number of master or servant characters on your field. And you can choose any character, master or servant.
So he early plays, digs, and gives power, and that's about it.
This is like one of the most okay but boring early plays I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, hard to agree to that. It doesn't even heal or anything.
But
it
like,
just
this profile's fine, right? Like there's nothing
it's fine.
wrong with it.
It digs. That's good enough. It's not much.
There's nothing wrong with this card. It's just like, it's just kind of boring.
I mean, I'm sitting here getting Holy Sword Kirito vibes.
It's just like, yeah, honestly. Like, he just doesn't do much. I guess top check 3 is pretty good.
It is.
He's an early play that can support like a finisher that doesn't have a dig on its own card.
You also gotta keep in mind that, Fate really hasn't had too many dig cards, especially ones that you don't have to reveal with.
Okay, yeah, that's notable then. Like, I don't know, I've played this a bit in Coin Flip, and it's good for like early playing, digging into your stock soul for Gil. Maybe that's where its use is. because you want to run a lot of like level 3s and level 2s because they have soul triggers in that deck. So maybe this has a place as like the early play that you play in coin flip.
Yeah, this is it's a fine playable support card. It's just not really
Where do
exciting.
you play it? You know.
Yeah.
It feels
I think.
niche.
Yeah, I
B,
think I'm gonna give it a
B-.
B-. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think it's pretty strong, but boring.
It's a boring out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather run Musashi's.
Yep. All right, next card. I'll use it.
A Petite Shiro promo. If this is in the no position, it gets a level in 2500.
This profile is totally fine. I've been playing with this profile a lot with my Christmas deck that I've been testing. This is like totally okay.
Yeah, I've been playing against it with Billy and Review.
It's like
I think Review is that. Yeah.
4K already is hard, right?
Yeah, and it's a 1 as well, so it gets run bombs in. You can't side it without penalty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like surprisingly annoying to deal with at level 0.
Here's the thing, like we had something similar to this back in the Limited Blade Works run. We had the blue Heroic Spirit Assassin. When he was in the middle, he got an additional 2,000, bringing him 45. You didn't have the level advantage, so I feel like this is like a straight upgrade, even though you lose 500 power.
And
Yeah.
it has master and weapon trait, so you could.
Those are literally the two most searched things in Fate.
Yeah, and he can get clock encored by the Shiro. I feel like in terms of promos, this is like a really good one. Mm-hmm. I would honestly give this a B+. I'm a big believer in this profile after playing with it a little bit. Especially in English. I feel like nothing answers a 4K level 1 in English. Like, Futaba's already dumb enough, right? Like the Chisatos.
I'm going to sit here and stray a little bit. I'm actually going to put this at A- because I run this. I'd run this in, 2/3 of the decks I run.
Yeah, I just think it's like a really solid plussing 0. I don't know. Andy has definitely like corrupted me with these like cards that can't move but are like stupid strong and can't be reversed at 0. But like this is one that I think is fine, especially because this trades and gets supported by Clock Encore with the only other 4K that you might see in English, which is like the Review Futaba 4K. Mm-hmm. So like this trades with it. If they side it, it's -1.
The fact that you can give it Encore just makes it so much more ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's master trait, yeah. Because I don't think there's a single Fate deck where you're in yellow where you're not running Clock Encore Shiro, right, Bret? I feel like that card's just too good.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only way you're not running it is if you're running, Shiro Saber, and even then, you're still teching it in at 1.
Yeah, at the very least, So yeah, I think this is really really good for a box cover. So you can grab a couple of these. It's a good splash.
Wish I had one.
0 line. So. All right, next. You, Bret.
Entrusted Archer Shiro. On reverse, if you have 2 or less cards in memory, you can blink this to memory. And on reverse, if its battle opponent is level 0 or lower, you can stock swap it. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I literally feel like it's tied in with. I feel like it's tied in with something else, but if you're pointing at the memory, it's just going to, thin the deck.
It's thinning the deck of a card that you're not going to use much beyond level 0. Like, this is good level 0 to get rid of other level 0s, but once it dies, it leaves the deck and doesn't clog up your hand and compresses you later on.
This card has a lot of things going for it. Like, number 1, master trait. Number 2, this is a card that when it becomes reversed, you can just remove it from your deck. Mm-hmm. Also pretty good. Fixes you for yellow, which in like mixed colored decks or like good stuff's decks, you're like splashing to kind of run the bouncer that we'll see later, or the Musashi, and like not much else at level 3. And then on top of that, he's all like a stock bomb. So you can like choose to Clock Encore him if you need to keep something around, and he removed a character from the field, Or if he's outlived his usefulness, you just send him to memory and he compressed you. I think this is like extremely good.
It's very good. Every time you play it, it does something good, no matter what happens.
It's very
Literally free
deceptive.
swinging out.
Yeah, it's deceptive how good this card is. Like, I think that people who like haven't been playing Weiss a long time will read this and be like, "Oh, it's just a stock bomb. It goes to memory. Who cares?" But like, the fact that it is, again, it's master trait. It sends itself to memory. It's a stock bomb. That's pretty good, and it's only 1,000 power. Like, there are very few bombs that are smaller than 1,000. Relevant ones are like the Sayo from Bang Dream. The Hagami ties this. They're both level 0. Or they're both 1,000 power. Stuff like that. So,
I
yeah,
mean, I'm just looking at this as a player of Angel Beats, and I'm like, look, you're literally not burning stock to throw this in memory.
Yeah, it just goes to memory for free. I'm gonna give this a straight A.
Yeah,
I really like this
as well.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Yeah, it's Zaz.
All right.
Slam my fist on the keyboard.
Next card. So, Reaching for the Grail, Saber. So, when this card becomes reverse in battle, you can choose a black shadow and put it underneath this card as a marker.
Other
Wait,
way
no,
around.
no.
This goes
this
underneath
card.
Black Shadow.
Yeah, this goes underneath Black Shadow. Okay. And then it's also a anti-change stock bomb. So Black Shadow is a level assist.
It changes into the that level 3 Saber with the single stock like rest.
But this has to be on your field.
Sort of like Exotic Elizabeth.
Yeah, this is a weird marker effect.
So you're playing. Let me sort of wrap my head around this. So you're playing both of these cards on the same turn, like ostensibly, right? So for 2, you're getting the cards in front of this, because when this becomes reverse in battle, if your stock has less cards than the opponent, you get to stock the card that gets reversed. So you bomb out your opponent's early play. So for 2, you play both of these, you bomb out your opponent's early play, and you refund half.
Half of them.
Well, no. So wait. So you don't get to send this to stock because it becomes a marker.
Look. Let me try and explain that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the ideal setup with this is, you have Black Shadow in back, this in the front. You swing in with this, knowing it dies, especially to what we're seeing nowadays a lot in high level.
Lots of early
play, lots of early plays. So you play that, swing in, stock bomb it. Then this card gets shot underneath Black Shadow's marker. It's in the backstage. It's pretty much safe unless somebody's playing, something that can target the back, like some Prism Alien Log Horizon. But we don't have many of that here in English.
Yeah.
It means that your opponent on their next turn is going to swing wide. And then on your next turn, you bring out the big level 3 beat stick.
Yeah, so overwhelming strength. Let me just take a look at this real quick. It's red. It's level 3. It's slide 65. It is 1,000 for each of your other master servants. The character facing this gets -1 soul. That's spicy. And it has Liz Zombie. The pay 1 if it's the only... If you don't have any other rested characters, save this. Okay.
Nice, because, that means that it can sit at 12-5 without worrying about anything in the back.
Yeah, I honestly think this card, this Salter, is like the most
I've been sitting waiting for that.
Yeah, I think that card is like the most important part of evaluating this. The fact that you're cheating it. But so
problem is it's literally eating up 3 slots depending on the ratios you put in.
Yeah, so like I think I was getting that. So like my big problem with this card is that you're dedicating all these slots to it. You are playing this card in response to an early play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if you had Black Shadow on the board at 1, you paid 1 for a literally useless back row card. It has no effect. It has like no meaningful effect. I guess maybe it stock charges you if you're crashing, but then you're losing board. So if you're crashing your board, it's stock charging you. Which is like, ugh. So like I don't know. I would rather hard play that Salter than do literally any of this. You know, like that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. I mean, if you need the anti-high level play, I think there's an option for that in Unlimited Blade Works 2's Lancer.
And there's the Rin anti-change too, which comes online at 1. Which is like, I don't know, what are there Shiro style? There's Shiro style stuff in English, right? There's the Pasupare stuff, the 2 ones. So like 1-0 anti-change is more important than ever, since those things are coming to English now. So I don't know.
So this is basically it as this really expensive package, and if you don't do that, it's just an early play stock swap bomb.
Yeah, and I think as a stock
and there's better
bomb,
options in this series.
I think I'm just gonna give it a C-. I'm gonna ignore everything else and just give it a C- as a stock bomb for anti-early play. It's cool. It's really cool, but it's too much.
I'm gonna give it a C+ because I will actually consider that stuff.
I mean, it's a really interesting package. Yeah. It's like really, it's all these cards that you wouldn't normally play. It's just I don't think it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely super
not worth
cool
it in theory.
It's super cool. My main problem is it's too many slots.
Yeah.
For this to be consistent, I have to run like 3 anti-change bombs. And I think the only time I've ever ran more than 1 anti-change bomb is when I'm running Himari. Because Himari's a broken card that gives you free stock. So it's like it's really hard to justify me putting like multiple 2-1-6-5s in my deck.
It would have to be a very gimmicky deck to make that work.
It's super sick though. Like I'm a big fan of this.
It's really cool, yeah.
Above all, and I mean Bret can vouch for this too, this is sick flavor.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice because they actually, took the time to make something that actually, goes with the storyline. I like that.
This is like Saber becoming Salter, basically. This whole change. Spoilers. All right, next card.
Sword sharded by Wind Saber. On play, bounce something, and this card gets 2k. And when it attacks, you can pay 1, ditch 1. All your other master servants get 500 power and an extra soul.
All right. I'm going to say something. Might be controversial. This card's broken.
Just for the bounce?
This card is... Okay, so in the context of the meta that we're going to see, this card's so important for Fate to have.
Absolutely.
It wins you the Ditto, right? In 8-bar, because you bounce the Riders. It beats Albuta, because you bounce Bodyguard. It bounces Priestess, main phase. Bounce is just becoming really, really important to have. And then I think the other effect is just insult to injury, right? Because the fact that it's on attack and not on play means that you can sequence it in a way where you can give your last lane the ability to side for 1. Mm-hmm. And soul modulation in the end game is king. That is so good, and it's aggressively costed too. I'm gonna give this an A+. This is super good.
You've convinced me. Yeah, it's like I saw that ability, but once you told me you can just modulate it, and like, okay, yeah, it's A+, definitely. I was gonna give it an A just for the bounce.
The thing is, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've been running, like, you've seen my master deck. I run Unlimited Blade Works Shiro, and I have the level 2 assist that swaps in. It gives the 500 power and a soul without doing much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have the bounce, but I do have the ability to get another attacker on board.
True, yeah.
With that climax combo. I'm going to give this just regular A, but I mean, it's really good. I agree with you 100%, especially since, there's not too many conditionals that go in with this.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how good this card works out in English format. Because I think you're right. I'm probably overrating it because my experience against this card has been in JP format. This card does like massive, massive work in the JP meta where you need to bounce stuff all the time. And while we're trending towards that in English, it's still not as big of a deal. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But it's important for like Fate to have this effect. And yellow is an easily splashable color. So pretty much every deck can run this card. You have to watch out for this card. So, all right, we'll just move on. Next, I think this is you, Bret.
Pushing Shiro. It's level 0 assist, and it has an act salvage by paying 1, dropping climax.
It's a climax filter, basically.
Doesn't green have just ditch a climax salvage in this set? I'm pretty sure they do. And they have like bar filter, right? When you trigger treasure, you get to filter.
Yeah, except you're filtering from the clock.
Yeah, you're filtering from clock. Okay, so
that's
it's repeatable
on trigger for treasure. Yeah.
It's repeatable, but it's costed.
That's honestly, I would rather, run the level 0 Shiro with the climax assist. Well, the climax boost on play.
Or like any other ditch out, right? Like literally any ditch out but this, because it's pay 1. Even if it is repeatable, I think pay 1 ditch climax is like way too outdated as a cost.
Yeah, I agree.
Could be worse. Could be P2 rest for search.
Yeah, that's true. Could be a lot
I'm
worse.
just sitting here looking at my Apocrypha deck's right next to me, and I'm sitting here looking at the stupid level 0 Sieg uncommon.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I'll give it like a D+, because, or you know what? Yeah, C-, just because frontal 5 is okay.
But C, because, I mean, if you don't have anything else, it's still a viable option.
Yeah, it is an uncommon. You have to think about that. It's a playable ditch out if you're like only building within Heaven's Feel.
Yeah, I mean, like that level 0 I'm talking about is literally a rare. If you can't pull that, especially since you can't really get Illuminative Blade Works 2 anymore, it becomes a lot more viable to run some of these other things.
Yeah, if you're like someone who likes Fate and you're just rolling into your LGS and you're like grabbing some packs, this is a card that you might want to play in your like sort of budget Fate deck. So, all right, next, Savage King of Heroes Gilgamesh. So he is also a frontal 500 assist, and he has a repeatable brainstorm. You flip 4 cards for every climax you hit. You choose a cost 0 or lower character when your opponent's center stage, and you put it into waiting room. That's spicy.
That's super nice.
Super spicy.
Think about
Spicy
it. Think about all the cards that bounce back to hand. You have attack on. You have Aaron in Attack on Titan. You have Astolfo inside of Apocrypha. You have so many different things that can bounce whenever you swing in.
And this is just kill Aaron.
Which means they either have to pay to salvage it, or they literally have to
just find it. Yeah.
Well,
they lose it.
They lose it. They lose their special effect.
I mean, this is value for being a repeatable brainstorm.
Yeah, like as a repeatable brainstorm, this is on par with Search Ditch. It's not as good, but it's like close, right?
It's repeatable as well, and it only costs 1 without having to ditch from hand. Yeah,
this is just pay 1, mill 4, maybe delete your opponent's board. Pretty good, especially when AOT is running around. Yeah. I'm a believer. I'm gonna give this like a B.
B for believer, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a believer in this card. This is spicy. This is
I'm gonna give it B minus literally just because I feel like it's better than that Shiro I was just talking about. I'm literally sitting here like thinking everything I just said about that Shiro. Yeah, no.
Yeah, especially because it's also a frontal 500 power and it's also an uncommon. Like I feel like you play this no matter what over the other one. Like he's just this is like almost meta playable because of Aaron.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, like as a 1-of.
It's literally rogue meta playable because you throw that in either as a tech option, just something to offset, but it's not something you want to build your strategy around.
Like if I see this as a 1-of at like a top 3 deck on like Boucher website, I would not be surprised.
It just kills Aaron.
It just kills Aaron.
This is just like if you're compressed, kill Aaron. That's pretty good. Especially when you're what is it? So say you throw this into 8-bar, right? You're running like those smaller Shimakazes. You could like kill off your opponent's 1-0s that are leftovers that might literally be like, especially versus Goblin Slayer, because they're 1-0s that like wall up, right? Or Aaron's that bounce. You just clear them, and then you play your Sakura cost bombs. And any time that those things live into your opponent's turn at 1, you like gain a lot of advantage. Because cost bombs are like pretty spooky. So like, I don't know. I could totally see this as like a meta call if you're running like into a lot of AOT or Goblin Slayer, stuff like that. It's like super, super spicy, but like this is super cool. Big fan of this card.
We love Gil.
Yeah, we love Gil. Look how sultry he looks. All right, next card. I'll use that.
As a master, Shiro. When damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you can pay 1 to draw a card. When this card attacks, if the 2 soul is in your climax area and your stock gets 5 or less cards, pick it up to 5 from the top of your deck, choose Master Servant, and put the rest in the waiting room.
I love this card. This card's fucking busted.
That's so funny.
I haven't seen a 2-soul in so long.
I'm so hype on this card. This card. So I've been playing a lot of like proxied up coin flip. So you're running like 2-soul stock soul, and you run no level 1s. You run like 16 level 0s and no level 1s and nothing but 2s and 3s. So your coin flip hits, right? This 2-soul could just carry you throughout the entire game. Because you never have more than 5 stock in that deck ever. And you just like pay 1, draw your stock soul. It's pretty good when they cancel. I don't know, but like real talk though, I think this might be the best plussing 2-soul combo that we've seen in English.
Oh,
yet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's an
Zero.
uncommon. It's an uncommon with a climax common climax. That's so good.
I like that you could like tri-field this and like do twice in a row because you can just pay once you get to 5 stock, you can just keep paying out your stock, so that whenever you cancel, you can just keep your stock down and keep drawing cards.
It just plays right into the 2-soul like unga bunga strategy where it's just like, oh, you canceled? Oh, I could use a plus, pay 1, like draw a card. It's just like you just this card just synergizes so well with like the classic Weiss idiot strategy where you just slam 2-soul on turn 2 and you tri-field and go, but it's like unironically very strong.
It actually is.
This is totally the like combo of choice off combo of choice.
I'm just sitting here just like big swings at 0.
It's just so
and that's
good.
the thing. You have so many big swings in Fate, but at 0, like you get that big push early, especially if you have those few series that want to be at 1 after Fate. And
it's just I don't know. It's just like
it's just dumb.
This card just has too much synergy with the coin flip playstyle, where you're gambling, but then you're also just plussing hand. You might just like pay 1 plus 2 off this card, while milling your deck, getting into your next deck faster, starting at level 0. damn good. I don't
I
know.
have no idea how to rate it.
I'm giving it an A+.
because it's definitely very good in coin flip, but like, is this playable in like regular Fate?
Ugh.
I mean,
That's the thing. Like, if you're playing regular Fate, and particularly if you're playing Master regular Fate, this literally does nothing.
Yeah, it just overswings, right?
I mean, again, it's an uncommon and climax common combo. It's very viable to put together, especially if you're starting out. That being said, big swings at 0 are always nice to see, but at the same time could be very detrimental depending on what you're playing against.
Well, I think you guys are looking at this the wrong way. Even if this card's damage just gets completely canceled, this is an on-attack, non-interactive plus that mills 3 cards, and if your opponent does cancel, you can +2. That's so good.
The thing is, I like this. I like the idea of this,
yeah.
especially since it's plussing early. I'm going to give it an A- +2. Sure, why not?
No, I agree.
I think it's
like,
at least gets that. I'm just not convinced that this is the best plussing combo in the series or the set.
Yeah, like before...
It just seems weird.
I mean, you have the literally free Snow Fairy Ilya, where on attack, you don't even need to reverse, but on attack, so long as you have, but it requires, full board presence in order to get that plus.
That's level 1,
and it's
right?
only
just draw.
It's a level 1 draw 1, but the climax it's attached to isn't a 2-soul. It's literally...
Well, if you think about coin flip, right? So, before we move on, I'm a coin flip apologist. I think that, like, the no level 1's coin flip is unironically an extremely strong deck. I think that deck is, like... It's inconsistent. It's inconsistent for sure, right? Yeah. Because, like, you're running 16 zeros or so, like 16 to 17 zeros. You're running no level
I don't know how
ones.
consistent it is. I've never seen you brick with it.
In terms
like maybe
of,
once.
So, like, I think where that deck really shines is in trios. Like, of the Springfest format. I think that's, like, the strongest third, like, deck that you can play. Where, like, your 2 teammates play super strong, like, normal, very consistent meta decks, like AOT, Goblin Slayer, and then your third lane is coin flip. That's, like, such a nasty lineup to be playing. Because coin flip can just rob games because the deck is actually good and can just not interact with its opponent the entire game. So, like, they play out your opponent's level 1s, whatever, just side for 2/2/2. 2/2/2 is the best thing to swing for. And you might just +2 off this card. Like, you just play this over and over again because you're running the Sakura, right? Because it's the best brainstormer in Fate. You could just salvage this back. Just play it again, and you'd feel totally fine about that because you're milling into your next deck, which you couldn't really do otherwise. Not to mention, this is also a master. You could just clock on court with the macro and combo 2 turns in a row if you flood yourself with 2-soul. Like, I'm just a big believer in this card in general. I think this card is super, super good, and the fact that it's uncommon, like, the budget player can just throw this in their deck. It's, like, really scary that you're going to, like, see this card at locals a lot. Super dumb. Do we got anything else on this? I just gushed about this a lot.
I mean, you have convinced me that this is an S in coin flip.
Yeah.
I'll add that to my score. It's S in coin flip.
So when you run coin flip, I guess we should have
already done that earlier.
Yeah, so you mill 2, the Gil 2 one. On reverse, you mill 2, and you burn 1 for the number of soul triggers you reveal. So if you reveal 2 climaxes that both have 2 soul triggers each, you burn 1 4 times. Just think about how disgusting that is for 1 second. If you thought Yo burning you for 3 and then attacking for 4 was stupid, or like burn for 3, attack for 3 was dumb.
It almost puts Proya to shame.
Imagine attack for 2, burn for 1 4 times.
That's the thing, like that Gil is so underrated because you could literally, do the same amount of pre-attack damage as, say, Birdcage or something like that, and it's at 2.
And you can just ditch your whole hand to get over anything. You ditch 2 cards, Gil sets at 15-5. He's so big. Because he has act, ditch a weapon character, gain 4k. Super strong. Alright.
Literally amazing to take down walls, but we're talking about this.
Yeah, we talked about that way too much. I think it's important to... I think Coin Flip is like the other quote-unquote meta deck outside of 8-bar that you're likely to see. That and probably some sort of improved Rin to win sort of deck. Some sort of Rin Archer deck. But...
Red deck wins.
Yeah, so... Alright, let's move on.
I think this is Bret.
Yeah, this is
me.
We're back to start, yeah.
Okay, we're back to we have Rin Shiro here. He's the 1/0 with on turn 1000 power. With stage entry, he can scry top 2, look for the 1/0 double rare Sakura, and then literally put it into play. And then mill the rest. On attack, if that Sakura is in play, he gets an additional 2k.
So, Bret, the big question I want to ask you with this card, does Fate have access to Scry? Like a lot of Scry? Because with Scry, this card gets a lot better.
There's a couple, not many. Most of it's actually, I think, in blue.
Okay, that
It revolves around caster. It's really not something you get to see often.
Well, at least caster has master trait, right? So
caster has both master and servant trait. How about that?
Yeah. So, okay. I think that with Scry, if you can confirm it, this card's fine. Because it does just plus to field on play. And mill you too. Which is like really, really strong. But you have to confirm it. It's made better by the fact that like the Sakura that it's trying to hit is a climax combo. So you're running 4 of it anyway. If you're running it in your deck. So like your chances to hit it are higher. Like theoretically.
And that's the thing. That climax combo is bar, so if you're also running the the 0/0 brainstorm.
Yeah, so you're bar filtering too.
I would almost prefer that like it could go to hand, just because I don't really see the point of it going straight to a stage because it's a 1/0 anyway. Maybe if you're color locked out, but that's the only case.
Literally flavor, and if you're color locked out, you can't play the climax.
Yeah.
If you're locked out of green, you can't slam the bar.
So it's like there's all these drawbacks to like getting any benefit outside of the mill with the center effect. I don't really like this.
Let's ignore the second effect entirely. Is this card good enough if it's just a swing for 7k if Sakura's on the board?
But think about it. It's 1/0 at 7k swing without having to worry about really any other assists.
So it's like 107k only on your turns, 4k cross turn, and it mills 2 on play. I'm just considering the more often scenario where it completely whiffs.
Yeah.
I would rather run Prilia and the Another Me combo because you can search and almost guarantee the 1/1 Kuro at 75.
I just don't like
too
this
niche.
at all.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it like a D. Yeah, I don't think it's a good card.
I mean, if you're running yellow-green, then possibly, but I mean, even then, it's literally, you're just filtering through the deck a little bit quicker, like without having to count on the brainstorm. And that's the thing, if you're running the brainstorm, use the brainstorm first. You could literally burn through it and miss it.
I'll give it a D+ just because it is on play mill 2, and I'm a slut for free mill. Free self mill so good in Weiss. I'm a big believer, so I'll give it that just for mill 2 on play. But I don't think it's. I think this is like. It's almost like quote unquote playable. Almost. It's really close, but it's not a good card.
There's better options.
Not quite.
Yeah. Next card. So injury status Shiro. So this card can't side attack. And when it attacks, if you have 2 or more other characters with
Or
Saber, Shiro, or Sakura in its name, this card gets 2,000 power to the end of turns. It swings for 7/5.
Better.
Yeah, it's better than the last one, but not by much.
Not by much. I mean, I'm sitting here just thinking like this at least can sit in like the C threshold, but
I don't even want to give it a C.
It's-
I'm gonna
it's
give it
increment up.
a D double.
no, I mean,
plus.
I'm sitting at C minus. It's like I couldn't even really. It's nice. Again, this is all dependent on whether or not you're running yellow green. If you're not running it as Saber Shiro, there's better things. You could run the Resonate combo with Heroic Spirit Saber, but again, think about it. It's an uncommon,
Yeah.
and you can get a 7,500 swing out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't got anything else. Next.
We're getting the shaft now, boys.
Yeah, we're getting into it. All right.
All right. What I can do, Shiro? It's a 2/1 level assist on play, draw, ditch.
That's fine.
That's fine.
This is
I mean,
just okay.
It's okay. But that's the thing. I even was digging through the other day, literally looking for, like master-based level assist, that I could run in my Saber Shiro deck, or even just in Master in general.
Mm-hmm.
Master, you're still running for, your big swings, especially late game. In Saber Shiro, this could actually be a lot more viable because of the cycling.
Because it cycles, yeah. Like, I don't know, loot 1 on play is fine, but my big problem with this card in general, as a level assist master card, I would rather dedicate enough cards to green. Because, okay, so a small green splash, let's say Sakura Brainstorm, it's a dope Brainstorm, and it's a master, so it fits in master's decks. And then you can run the 2/1 Sakura change, the rider that like kills stuff and free stocks you, and then you can run the 3/2 Sakura that's a level assist that like has tap stock charge you from waiting room. It's like really hard to justify a level assist that's not that Sakura, because that Brilliant Smile Sakura is so good as a master card. I guess that like you said, as in just Saber Shiro, this has a place.
I was gonna say, I think you meant Brilliant Smile.
Brilliant Smile, yeah.
Brilliant.
Thanks,
Amazing.
Bushy Road.
Brilliant.
And the thing is, like, they did that on all of the versions of that card too.
Yeah, so like all the cards that interact with it too also have it misspelled. It's like a next level fail.
And I think they did that with a few other things. I mean, even I think Cosme and Bandori 1 had the same thing.
Yeah, just like blatant misspellings. Bushiroad like C needs to like get their shit together. It's becoming
this
really
is
embarrassing.
literally kind of middle of the road as far as playability.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C minus just because it's in it does loot 1 and it has a place in Saber Shiro. So
It does something. That's all we can ask sometimes.
yeah, a level assist is fine. All right, next.
Bret.
All right, we have Entrusted Shiro. It's a 2/1 6,500 that gets 1,000 for each of the other master or servant characters. I literally feel like he's a weaker version of the Rider of Red that's in the Apocrypha Trial deck. He doesn't have Encore.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's a 2/1 Encore. Same effect.
Literally same effect.
Damn.
Actually, no. This is more like the Collis in Apocrypha, but the same deal. Collis, when you level up, he got Encore 2. This is literally just same thing. It's uncommon
Just
slot
2/1 10/5.
Yeah.
Is a 2/1 10/5 okay? I don't think so.
No.
D.
I
Not
mean,
okay.
it used to be.
Yeah, I guess it used to be. The fact that it only has 1 soul, I would rather pay the premium for this to have Encore and 2 soul.
Yeah, so did I.
Like 9 times out of 10. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it the D. Not good enough. All right.
Okay,
Next.
I'm gonna give it a D-. I don't like it enough.
That's fair. All right. So what is it? This is me. Okay. So friendly teacher Tyga. This card is completely off trait, by the way. Important to keep in mind. When this card attacks, choose one of your Shiro or Sakura, give it 2,000 power, and it is a clock bomb that's yellow. God fucking damn it, Lucy Road, stop it! Stop it! This happens every time. Is nothing sacred in this goddamn game?
Listen, like, this is a Clock Bomb Zero at a common. The last Clock Bomb Zero we had at 1,000 power in Fate was the Kiritsugu from Fate Zero. And he has Master Trait, but he's a rare.
I just hate that this card is yellow and is a clock bomb. I hate it. I hate it. I'm so sick of this. It's just like, again, is nothing in this game sacred when it comes to color identity. They just break it whenever they want. It just doesn't mean anything. It makes me so mad. But that has nothing to do with this card because it's completely off trait, which makes it unbelievably unplayable. I would give it an F. I'll give it an F plus just because the text that's on the card is fine, but the fact that it's completely off trait, which makes it whiffable by literally any card that you would want to play in the deck.
I'm gonna give it an E- just because it is still a clock bomb you can get at a common.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not denying that the text written on this card is totally fine. And if this was a master trait, I would probably give this like a C plus. Maybe even a B minus. I think this card's really good, but the fact that it's off trade is so bad.
It is.
Literally, if you can, buy Fate Zero trial packs, get the Kiritsugu, save yourself a headache.
Yep.
Because you can search for him even with the Ilya Akatsuki.
Yeah. He hits master.
Is this next one me?
Yep.
Foreign acquaintance, Saber. All your other strong sentences of justice, which is the Vanilla 3K, get 1,000 power. All your other characters with Shiron's name get Encore. It's a character Encore.
Doesn't even bond. D minus. No,
doesn't
you know what?
even.
Bond.
It is a bit superfluous since there's already Encore.
It's literally the Apple Bond profile, but without the bond.
And I'm going back a little bit with this. The trial deck to Loveru combo that didn't even bond. This is literally the same thing.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Why?
Again.
Why Bush Road?
This is just unplayable. Yeah, just give it the Y, Bret. I saw it. You're allowed. Yeah, just give it the Y.
Y out of 10.
All right. Tell us about this card.
Wait, this is me. Student Council President Issei, and if you don't have another character, like if he's only on board, he gets level, gets 1,500. He's a 104K by himself. Again, you just sit here and even look at the box topper promo, or just run the 0/0 assassin. The thing is, I like it. I like the idea of it. I like the fact that they have tended to experiment with Issei. I mean, even inside of Unlimited Blade Works 1, they had him sitting at. Literally had a 1/2 of him with 2 soul as a common.
Well, my big problem with this card, Bret, is that this card is also off trade.
Again, yeah.
Like
experimentation.
Like, okay, so in terms of this as a card, is the box topper promo just not better in every way? Even
it
the topper promo is better in every way, especially since all it needs is positional. This, I mean, you can kind of set anywhere at least, but it's again,
it's only good like the first turn of the game, and that's
I'm giving it a D minus because if you run 4 of this card and can feasibly open it turn 0, it's totally an acceptable plussing 0.
I guess
that's like the only thing that saves this card for me. It's so close. It's so close to being fine. It needs one more thing on it. It needs master trait. That's it.
Yeah, but he's not a master. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And you have this not even in just this, but you have this inside other series as well. They throw in off-trait cards literally at lower rarities so that people have things to fill in space in decks.
Yeah.
So this is the collector's fault. That's
This is basically it. It's like they have characters, they have slots that they can put them in, and like literally, this is just taking off a piece of promo art.
It's a lot better than a vanilla. So
that's the thing. Like, I mean, with vanilla, it's at least 3,000. This here has the option B for a 1/0 at 4.
Yeah, not bad.
Speaking of vanillas.
Yeah,
vanillas.
Vanilla F. There's not enough time in the world for vanillas.
Okay.
Next.
Oh, speaking of off traits, Archer Club President Ayako. Off trade if this character is facing this card is higher level than this card cannot frontal attack.
I think this profile is fine, but the fact
I actually think it's fine.
The fact that it's off trait makes it unplayable, though. I'm gonna give it a D- because I think that this profile is totally okay. These like free 6/5s.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a 1/0 at 65. If it can't frontal attack, it can at least side, and I mean siding at 1 isn't terrible, even if you're off trait.
Because you can at least slam climax, right? Like it's not.
You can get a climax and then still confirm damage.
It's
even if you side.
It's a fine profile. It just needed literally any searchable trait.
So many cards have been wasted because they're off trait.
I'm giving it a D just because I like the fact that it's a 1/0 at 65 without much effort.
Hey, dude, Ayako got a card. That's that.
Ayako got more cards. I'm happy about that. If it weren't for the fact that you can't search sports, which I felt like you could, but no, it would be a little more viable.
The sports standard deck with oh no, Nisakoi's Weiss side. Never mind. You can't play her with Kozaki.
I mean, if you run standard construction instead of side constructed, you could still do it. But
I guess, yeah.
Hey, there's always basketball, man.
That's true. There's always basketball, man. All right, so 1/1 2500 backup. Huh.
It's a thing.
And that's the thing. Like, I forget. It's like the set right before this. We had backups that didn't quite hit this at 1.
I like that
2500s at 1.
I like that it has a soul trigger.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I think that's the only important part of this backup. I'm gonna give it like a D, or I'll give it a C-. The 2500 backup with a soul trigger. Soul trigger is important to an extent.
Yeah, especially run this and coin flip.
Yeah, if you need a backup in your coin flip build, you definitely run this because it's got a soul trigger.
Make this be your only level 1.
I guess, yeah. Put your gills to 10k, dude. That's a big deal. Yeah.
I couldn't really confirm that. Okay, Smile Lit by Sunrise Saber. If you have 2 or more other Master Servant characters, it gets an additional 15 in Auto Encore at a 1/1 for 1. It's 75 for 1 with Encore.
Silica on guard.
That's the thing. Fate's been missing something like that. The quest you had, I don't even think you had something quest this.
Fate doesn't have standby yet, though.
It doesn't?
Yet.
I was about to ask that.
There might be a Fate. There might be a Heaven's Feel movie 2 set.
Some of this stuff even came from Heaven's Feel 2. So,
Rip
literally, we are getting Volume 2 for this eventually, but that's going to be after the 3rd movie comes out.
Yeah. So I don't know. We might get standby. This card gets a lot better if there's standby and faint, because color doesn't matter to standby at all, even though standby's red. And the 1/1 silica profile is really, really strong.
It is.
If the standby is quote unquote open, as in like you're not running it with a true level 1 climax combo. So literally every standby climax in English that's not Kaede. 1/1s with this like 75 hand on card profile are really strong. So it's important for this card to exist. Currently, probably unplayable, but C+.
Yeah, it's so good.
I'm still going to stick with it at a B because we haven't had anything like this for a while. I mean, I've been playing. It's a common that has this.
Yeah.
Keep in mind.
Like,
so it's very
Silica
accessible.
on guard, a rare. Like, yeah. So
Yeah, that's a rare.
This is a totally fine card for people to put in budget builds.
It's stand on card. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's run this with the 0/0 Sabre plusing Shiro.
Yeah.
You build up your hand for Encore and, have this sitting and push your way through too.
Yeah, then you don't have to clock Encore. You can just end Encore. A pretty good profile. I really like these profiles at all. I think these profiles are really strong when you have standby. Hard playing them is a little but it's still fine, especially in a budget deck.
I mean, I've been sitting here playing. I started actually playing with the Project Diva trial deck. You had the hard 1/1 6500 Encore.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move to this last card here. A Servant's Power Sealed Within. It's a 2/1 event. You can search your deck for the 3/2 early play, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck. And then this event goes to memory. Then when this is in your memory, all your Shiro early plays get accelerate. Just clock yourself at the beginning of climax phase. Then you get to search your deck for a climax, put it in your hand, and then ditch a card. Huh.
This is very interesting.
I think the most notable part of this card is it's a rare event. That we rarely see that. What's the last rare event we saw? Opposition by the Shield.
Think maybe. Like
it's
the last.
Only one I can think of, right? Is Opposition by the Shield.
Last one I vividly remember was the fucking. Was the 3/9 event inside of Project Diva Volume 2.
Yeah, like.
Remember.
Ugh, I don't like this at all. So you like. This card doesn't. All it does is get your early play and go even.
If you choose to do that, because like, in order to even go even, you have to, run that 3/2.
This is a card you play if you're not confident that you're pretty sure that digs will dig you to your climax.
Yeah, that's the
This guarantees
thing, right?
the climax. That's its main benefits.
But why? It doesn't have a soul trigger. You can't run this in coin flip.
What climax combo would you even possibly run with it?
Because this is an early play. I feel like this wants to get you into your stock soul for the Gilgamesh 2/1. But if digging 3 if digging 3 isn't enough to get you into your 2/1 and playing this to get you into your stock soul is already a desperation play, I feel like there's no reason to run this additional card, especially because it doesn't have a soul trigger.
In yellow, in like basic Kevin's feel in yellow, this is useless.
Yeah, like this is just completely useless.
Because your two climaxes in yellow right now are literally the 1/0 strike air and the 0/0 big swing.
Yeah, like
literally, if you fish for that, I mean, at that stage of the game, there's no real point unless you're going for literal big swings, running the level 3 Saber, bounce back to hand, play +2.
That's where and if you're playing the 2 soul, you're crashing. So you're at best going even anyway, after searching your climax, which decompressed your deck by 1. Ugh, I hate it. I hate this card.
I think I'm gonna give it an F.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't see a point. I think this is one of the most unplayable events I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's like I see somewhere in this world an option for it, but that's the only reason it's getting the E-.
It's and that one option is like a gimmick deck that you'll play once and everyone will have a laugh at, and then it'll be taken apart.
Well, I mean, you run this with Unlimited Blade Work Shiro, fish out your shots, and get your extra attack in. That's about it.
Yeah,
I guess, yeah.
In mono yellow, that's the only real option. In other things, it might have more utility, but even then, like
So,
even
but
here in Heaven's
it
Field, you
clocks
don't
you
really.
one. You dig 3 and then clock yourself 1.
Thing. This is a 2-1 combo in the hopes that you play this too early. But I mean, you're getting it. You're literally getting it. It all depends on whether or not you've bricked after a refresh.
I just can't see it, Brett. I'm sorry.
I can't see it either. Sorry, Bret. I get what you're saying, though.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and I don't disagree, but I just can never see myself even doing it, even as a show.
I'd rather run Musashi's and Unlimited Blade Work Shiros, to be honest. But again, there's a point where this can be useful.
It's honestly just that the early play digs 3 on its own, and if you were so uncompressed that you couldn't get a climax in 3 cards, then you weren't winning that game. Like that's where I'm coming from. It's like I don't see how you're supposed to. I don't see what kind of insurance this is giving you. Like, at what cost? Clocking yourself an additional card? Because if you were trying to draw into a climax, you probably clocked yourself before you played this early play anyway. Was digging 5 cards not enough?
At the very least, it plinks itself to memory to thin the deck.
I guess.
Again, it's there's much more viable options to run. I'd rather run playset of single counterattack and non-intersecting ideals.
You know what would make this event super playable? Accelerate stock 2 from waiting room. So it made the Shiro play for 1 and went to memory. Now that would make it playable.
Yeah.
That would almost be broken. That'd be a reason to play it.
But right now, it's just a waste of a rare slot.
Yeah, not a fan.
Fate's actually had worse dead rare slots.
Oh, I'm sure. It's just noticed it. I'm sure there's been worse.
All right. Well, I think that's it for yellow, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, we hit everything.
All right. We'll be back next time with green. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.